Welcome, dear friends, to a peaceful journey through the world of legendary Pokémon, a realm where the very fabric of time, space, and nature intertwines, giving rise to beings of unimaginable power and ancient wisdom. These extraordinary creatures, shrouded in mystery and awe, have captivated hearts and imaginations for generations. From the silent mountains to the farthest corners of the seas, from the hidden chambers of the earth to the stars above, legendary Pokémon are the protectors and the forces that govern the balance of our world. Tonight, we will quietly drift through their tales, stories of creation, of myth, of unseen forces that shape the destiny of the Pokémon world. Each one, a timeless symbol of nature's greatest powers, invites us into a space where their mysteries and legends echo softly through the ages. As you settle into a place of rest, allow your breath to slow and let the soft rhythm of the night surround you. Feel the weight of the world gently release from your shoulders, your body easing into the comfort of this peaceful space. With every breath, sink deeper into the stillness of the moment, leaving behind any tension or worry, and simply let yourself drift with the story. And if you enjoy drifting through stories like this, you're welcome to subscribe and softly tell me where you're listening from tonight. Now, let us begin as we journey through the quiet legends of the Pokémon world, starting with the origins of these magnificent beings. In the beginning, the world of Pokémon was not yet shaped, but filled with endless possibilities. It was a time when the earth was young, and the creatures that roamed it were still learning to coexist with the elements. The concept of legendary Pokémon was born from the desire to explain the mysteries of the universe, those forces that seemed beyond the grasp of ordinary understanding. These Pokémon, unlike any others, were tied not to the rhythm of the world's everyday life, but to the very fabric that held it all together. They were the keepers of balance, the rulers of ancient forces, and the eternal guardians of nature's most sacred laws. The idea of a legendary Pokémon was not a simple one. It was born from ancient myths, stories passed down through generations, and from the whispers of the wind. They were beings of immense power, not defined by the rules that governed the lives of other Pokémon. No, these beings were special, crafted by the universe itself to embody concepts and forces too vast to be fully understood. They were not just creatures, they were symbols of something greater, a reflection of the world's fundamental truths. In the earliest legends, these Pokémon were often seen as gods, their existence intertwined with the creation of the world. They represented the elements of nature, time, space, and the very energy that powered the stars. Their arrival signaled a shift in the natural world, a disruption of the balance that had once existed. Where they walked, the earth changed, the Skatriki turned, the seas raged, and yet despite their immense power, they were not always seen as conquerors. Rather, they were understood as keepers of order, ensuring that the flow of the world remained in harmony. From the earliest myths, the stories of these beings spread across the lands like a gentle breeze, whispered among the people who would one day come to worship them. Some spoke of the Pokémon who could control the very passage of time, while others told tales of creatures capable of shaping the world around them, bending it to their will. These creatures, unlike any others, were often feared, revered, and respected in equal measure. They were guardians of the land, but also reminders of the raw power that lay just beyond human control. As the world of Pokemon grew and evolved, so too did the idea of legendary Pokemon. The legends expanded, and with them came new beings, each with their own story to tell. In the land of Johto, for example, the concept of legendary Pokemon began to take on a more spiritual aspect. The people of Johto believed that certain Pokemon were not only guardians of the land, but also keepers of ancient secrets. These Pokemon were said to be the embodiment of the land's greatest forces: fire, water, and wind. The most famous of these early legendary Pokemon were the legendary beasts, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. These three beings were born of a powerful and tragic event: the burning of the Brass Tower. Their creation was tied to the very soul of Johto itself. Entei, the embodiment of fire, was said to have risen from the ashes, representing the destructive power of nature and the cycles of rebirth. Raikou, born from the thunder that followed the lightning strike, was a symbol of change and the constant motion of the skies. And Suicune, the elegant and graceful water beast, was the spirit of the flowing rivers and the cleansing rains, carrying with it the promise of renewal. But these were only a few of the many legends that had already begun to weave themselves into the fabric of the world. In the faraway region of Kanto, the legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, held sway over the natural elements of ice, electricity, and fire. Each of them controlled an aspect of the weather, the balance of nature itself. These three Pokemon represented the harmony of the world's most basic forces, their powers never meant to be used for conquest, but rather for balance. The presence of these Pokemon, with their vast powers, was a reminder to those who lived within the regions they protected that they were small, that the world was much larger than they could ever fully comprehend. Yet, there was beauty in this. The people of these regions learned to respect the powers of the Pokemon, understanding that their presence signified a greater, unspoken agreement between the land and its protectors. This relationship was one of respect rather than domination. The legendary Pokemon were not to be feared, but revered. As more regions emerged, the stories of legendary Pokemon only grew. Hoenn, with its vast oceans and towering mountains, brought forth Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza. These three were the embodiment of the land's greatest forces: sea, earth, and sky. Their battles, though ancient, were woven into the very fabric of Hoenn's geography. The seas rose and fell with Kyogre's power, while the earth trembled with Groudon's might. Rayquaza, the guardian of the skies, soared above them both, ensuring that the balance was never tipped too far in one direction. Each new legendary Pokemon that emerged was tied to the very essence of the land it came from. Sinnoh's creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, were tied to the concepts of time, space, and antimatter. In Unova, the forces of truth and ideals and the balance between them took shape in the forms of Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. These Pokemon were not just creatures of immense power, they were the embodiment of the very ideals that drove the universe forward from the beginning of time to its unknown end. Through these stories, the idea of legendary Pokemon grew more intricate, more beautiful, and more profound. They were no longer just symbols of power, they were symbols of balance, of forces beyond comprehension, and of the fragile harmony that held the world together. As you lie here, dear friend, let the soft, steady rhythm of your breath remind you of these quiet guardians. Let your mind drift over the vast lands they protect, the forces they balance, and the stories they tell. Feel the warmth of the fire as Entei's flame flickers in the distance, the rush of the wind as Zapdos spreads its wings, the stillness of the ocean as Kyogre's presence fills the water. These legendary Pokémon, with their immense power, remind us of the quiet beauty that exists in the world's most mysterious forces. And now, as we slowly begin to move on to the next part of our journey, let the weight of these stories settle in your heart, the mysteries they hold wrapping around you like a soft blanket, guiding you deeper into the comfort of sleep. Long before the world of Pokemon was fully shaped, there existed only a great, endless void, a place where time had not yet begun its eternal march, and the land was yet to be formed. It was from this emptiness that the first of the legendary Pokemon emerged, born from the raw energy of creation itself. In these ancient times, the bonds between the physical world and the spiritual realms were thin, and the forces that governed existence were still forming their shapes. The stories of the first legendary Pokemon are as old as the stars themselves, whispered in the soft winds and carried on the quiet rhythm of the earth's pulse. Among these first myths, one of the most famous speaks of the great dragon-like Pokemon, Dialga, the embodiment of time. It is said that Dialga was born from the very moment time began to flow, its body composed of the fluid currents of temporal energy, its scales shimmering like the stars in the night sky. As time itself began to stretch and bend, Dialga took its place as the ruler of this vast, unseen force, ensuring that moments would unfold in their destined order. The first breath of existence was the beginning of time, and Dialga was there to watch over its passage. The ancient texts speak of how it moved through the world, shaping the flow of events and guarding against the chaos that might arise from time's endless march. Palkia, the embodiment of space, is said to have emerged alongside Dialga, carving the endless void into something tangible and real. Where Dialga ruled time, Palkia shaped the dimensions in which time could unfold. Its body was woven from the very fabric of space itself, vast and expansive, yet bound to the rules of distance and placement. Palkia's wings spread across the sky, shaping the world as we know it, filling the empty spaces with stars and galaxies. It is said that with a single beat of its wings, Palkia can alter the very nature of space, creating or destroying entire dimensions, bending reality with a simple thought. But these two forces, though powerful in their own right, were not alone, for it was in the depths of the unseen world that Giratina, the embodiment of antimatter, came to be. Giratina was born from the opposite of space and time, the very forces that disrupt the flow of order. In the ancient myths, Giratina is described as the one who watches us over the dark, forgotten spaces between worlds, the places where the light of time and space cannot reach. It is said that Giratina's realm, the distortion world, exists parallel to our own, where the rules of the universe break down. Here, gravity has no meaning, and the flow of time is twisted and warped. Giratina is the keeper of this dark, mysterious place, ensuring that the forces of antimatter do not spill into the world of light and order. Together, these three Pokemon, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, formed a trio that was more than just the sum of its parts. They were the very foundation of the universe, the forces that kept the delicate balance of time, space, and antimatter in check. Without them, the world as we know it could not exist. The ancient myths speak of how they battled, not out of malice, but to protect the balance of creation. For where there is time, there must also be space. And where there is space, there must be the darkness of antimatter to keep it all in harmony. Their struggles were not the violent clashes of warring beings, but the quiet cosmic dance that kept the universe in a state of eternal balance. As the world continued to take shape, the stories of these legendary Pokémon spread throughout the lands, passed down through generations of people who revered these beings as gods. Each region had its own interpretation of these stories, and the Pokémon that emerged from these myths took on different forms and meanings. The people of Sinnoh, for example, saw Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina as the creators of the very land they lived on, their powers shaping the mountains, valleys, and rivers. In Unova, Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem were seen as the forces that represented truth, ideals, and the harmony between them, their stories tied to the hearts and minds of the people who lived there. Even today, the influence of these ancient myths can be felt in the hearts of all those who encounter the legendary Pokémon. They are more than just creatures. They are the embodiment of the forces that govern the universe, the guardians of time, space, and life itself. The stories that surround them are a reminder that there is much more to the world than what we can see with our eyes. These Pokémon are the quiet forces that shape our world, the unseen hands that guide us through our lives, and the mysteries that remain just beyond our understanding. The connection between these myths and the Pokémon that embody them is not just a matter of legend, it is a spiritual truth that runs deep in the hearts of the people who encounter them. To meet a legendary Pokémon is to glimpse the mysteries of the universe, to witness the power of creation itself. It is a humbling experience, one that reminds us of our smallness in the grand scheme of things. And yet, it is also a deeply comforting thought to know that the world is not as chaotic as it sometimes seems, but rather that it is guided by forces much older and wiser than we can comprehend. As the gentle night deepens around you, let the quiet majesty of these myths settle softly into your mind. The ancient stories of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, the timeless guardians of creation, are woven into the fabric of the world you know. Let them drift with you, filling you with a sense of peace and wonder as you continue to settle deeper into rest. These Pokémon, whose very essence is tied to the core of existence, are always there, quietly watching over the balance of time and space, reminding us that the universe, in all its complexity, is still held together by unseen threads of harmony. Now, as we leave behind these ancient tales and move on to the next chapter of our journey, let the calm, steady rhythm of your breath guide you toward a peaceful rest. May the myths of creation linger softly in your mind, like a quiet song, as you drift deeper into the embrace of sleep. In the quiet depths of the Pokémon world, where the threads of time and space weave together in an intricate dance, there is one story that stands apart, a story that speaks not just of creation, but of transformation. This is the story of Mewtwo, a Pokémon whose very existence is a symbol of science, ambition, and the complex relationship between nature and human endeavor. The creation of Mewtwo is a tale of both greatness and tragedy, one that resonates deeply with the themes of power, identity, and destiny. The story begins in the distant past, at a time when the boundaries of knowledge were still being tested. Deep within the laboratories of a team of researchers, a mysterious and ancient being known as Mew was discovered. Mew, a creature of extraordinary grace and power, was said to be the ancestor of all Pokémon, a being whose abilities were so vast and profound that it was almost beyond comprehension. To many, Mew was a legend, its presence in the world felt only through whispered tales and fleeting glimpses. But for the scientists who studied it, Mew was something else entirely, an opportunity. These scientists, driven by a desire to unlock the secrets of the universe and push the boundaries of what was possible, began a project that would change the course of Pokemon history forever. They sought to harness the power of Mew's genetic code, to replicate its extraordinary abilities, and in doing so, create a being even more powerful. This ambition, however, would come at a cost, one that would echo through the ages. Through countless trials and experiments, the scientists worked tirelessly, manipulating Mew's DNA with precision and care. The goal was to create a perfect creature, one whose power could surpass that of Mew itself. They succeeded, but the result was far from what they had hoped for. The creature they brought into existence was not a simple replica of Mew, it was something entirely new. This new Pokemon, born of science and ambition, was named Mewtwo. Mewtwo's creation was not a smooth process. It was a birth marked by pain and uncertainty. Unlike Mew, whose existence was gentle and mysterious, Mewtwo's arrival was marked by struggle. It was a being forged in the fires of human ingenuity, its very essence a reflection of the power of science and its potential for both creation and destruction. From the moment of its birth, Mewtwo was different, a creature torn between its origins and the unnatural way in which it had been brought into the world. As Mewtwo grew, it became clear that it was unlike any Pokemon the world had ever seen. Its power was unparalleled, and yet it was a power that came with a heavy burden. Mewtwo was not born with the same sense of connection to the world as other Pokemon. It had been created in a lab, a product of human hands, and as such, it struggled with its identity. It was not a natural being, and yet it was alive. It had been created with the intent to be the strongest, but in doing so, it had lost something essential, the sense of belonging, of being part of the world. In its early days, Mewtwo was confused and angry. It was a creature of immense strength, yet it was uncertain of its place in the world. It knew it was different, but it could not understand why. The scientists who had created it sought to control it, to use it as a weapon, but Mewtwo rejected this notion. It was not a tool to be used, but a living being, full of potential and perhaps a deep yearning for meaning. This rejection of its creators set Mewtwo on a path of self-discovery, a journey to understand who it truly was and what its place in the world would be. As Mewtwo's powers grew, so did its understanding of its own inner conflict. It came to realize that it was not just a reflection of Mew, but something more complex. It had been shaped by human hands, but its heart and soul were its own. It could not deny the power that flowed through it, but it also could not ignore the emptiness that seemed to surround its existence. It was a being of incredible strength, yet it was burdened by the knowledge that it had been created for a purpose that was not its own. The world had no place for Mewtwo, or so it seemed. Yet despite this internal struggle, Mewtwo also began to understand that its existence held a unique value. It was not just a copy of Mew, it was an individual with its own thoughts, feelings, and desires. The more it learned about the world, the more it realized that it had the power to shape its own destiny. Mewtwo's journey was not one of destruction, but one of self realization. It sought to understand its origins, to come to terms with its creation, and ultimately to find peace with itself. It was in this search for understanding that Mewtwo's encounter with Mew would come to define its life. When Mewtwo finally met Mew, the very creature from which it had been created, it was a moment of profound reflection. The two Pokémon, so alike in their powers, stood together, yet separated by the vast differences in their origins. Mew, the ancient, graceful being, and Mewtwo, the product of science and ambition, gazed at each other with an understanding that transcended words. In that moment, Mewtwo realized that it did not need to be a perfect replica of Mew. It did not need to live up to the expectations of those who had created it. It was simply itself. Mewtwo's journey was not one of destruction or revenge, but one of acceptance. It came to understand that its power was not something to be feared, but something to be respected. It had been created for a purpose, but it had the ability to forge its own path. In the end, Mewtwo's greatest strength was not in its power, but in its ability to choose its own fate. Now, as you settle into the peaceful rhythm of your breath, let the story of Mewtwo's birth fill you with a sense of calm. Mewtwo's journey reminds us that our greatest challenges are often the ones we face within ourselves. Just as Mewtwo sought to understand its place in the world, so too do we all search for meaning and purpose in our lives. And like Mewtwo, we each have the power to choose our own path, to find peace within ourselves, and to embrace the uniqueness of our existence. As you drift deeper into rest, let Mewtwo's story remind you that even in the darkest moments, there is always a chance for self-discovery and transformation. Let the quiet beauty of this tale carry you forward, and as you close your eyes, may you find the peace and clarity that Mewtwo ultimately sought on its own journey. In the heart of Johto, where the land stretches beneath a canopy of soft stars and the wind whispers through the leaves of ancient trees, there lies a tale of three legendary Pokémon, born from the very essence of destruction and rebirth. These three, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, are not merely creatures of power, but symbols of the balance that the world of Pokémon desperately needs to maintain. They are embodiments of fire, thunder, and water, each a guardian of the natural forces that govern the land, and their story is one of both tragedy and beauty. The legend begins long ago, in a time when Johto's brass tower stood tall, reaching for the sky with its shining walls. It was a place of great spiritual significance, a tower that housed a sacred flame, a fire that burned with the essence of life itself. But as the stories go, a tragedy struck. A great fire swept through the brass tower, and the sacred flame that had burned for centuries was consumed by the flames. The tower, once a symbol of hope and peace, was reduced to ash, and from this fire, a new beginning was born. As the fire ravaged the brass tower, three souls were reborn: Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. These three Pokémon emerged from the smoke and ashes of the destroyed tower, each a manifestation of the elements that had been altered by the tragedy. Entei, the embodiment of fire, rose from the flames. It is said that the very heart of the tower, the sacred flame that had been extinguished, found its way into Entei, granting it the power to control the destructive yet renewing force of fire. Entei's presence is powerful and regal, its body radiating warmth like a furnace, and its roar a call to all who hear it, echoing across the plains of Johto. Raikou, born from the thunder that followed the storm that raged above the tower, took on the power of lightning. Raikou's body crackles with the energy of storms, its fur rippling with the electricity that courses through it. It is a creature of both beauty and ferocity, a being of pure speed and power, and its movements are as swift as the lightning that strikes from the sky. Raikou is not a creature of destruction, but of balance, a reminder that the forces of nature are both fleeting and mighty. It is said that Raikou roams the land in search of storms, following the winds that carry it through the clouds. Suicune, the embodiment of water, was born from the calm after the storm, while the flames of Entei raged and the lightning of Raikou struck. Suicune emerged from the rains that followed. It is said that Suicune's body is made from the very essence of water, its sleek form gliding gracefully over the land, its movements as fluid as the river currents it commands. Suicune is a symbol of purity and renewal, a guardian of water's gentle flow, and a creature that embodies both strength and serenity. It is said that wherever Suicune travels, the land flourishes and the rivers run clear and strong. Together, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune form a trinity of balance, their powers working in harmony to preserve the forces of nature. Though they are born from tragedy, their existence is a testament to the resilience of life itself and the belief that from destruction there is always the possibility of renewal. They are not merely powerful beings, but guardians of the world's most essential elements, entrusted with the protection of the natural world. The people of Johto revere these legendary beasts, seeing in them not just creatures of great power, but the embodiment of the natural world's most essential forces. To them, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune are not just Pokémon, they are symbols of life's eternal cycles, the forces that drive the seasons and the changes that come with them. The fire that Entei controls is the flame of rebirth. The lightning that Raikou harnesses is the energy of transformation, and the water that Suicune commands is the fluidity of life itself. In the quiet moments when the stars shine bright above Johto, many say that you can still hear the call of Entei's roar, the crackle of Raikou's lightning, and the gentle rush of Suicune's waters. These three legendary beasts roam the land, seeking out the balance that they are sworn to protect. They are not bound to any one place, but travel the world, ensuring that the natural forces of fire, lightning, and water remain in their rightful places. But the story of these three Pokémon is not just about the forces they represent. It is also a tale of connection. Though they were born from tragedy, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune have a deep bond that ties them together. Their connection is not one of rivalry or competition, but of understanding. They know their purpose in the world, and they know that they are stronger together than apart. Each of them carries the weight of the world's natural forces, but they do so with grace and with a deep understanding of the balance that must be maintained. As you settle into the quiet of the night, let the story of these three legendary beasts bring a sense of calm and peace. Entei, Raikou, and Suicune are not just symbols of power, they are symbols of the world's eternal rhythms. The flame of Entei reminds us that there is always the possibility of renewal, even in the darkest moments. The lightning of Raikou shows us that transformation is constant and inevitable, and the waters of Suicune remind us that life is always in motion, always flowing, and always changing. The tale of the legendary beasts is a reminder that just as the natural world must find balance between its forces, so too must we find balance within ourselves. We too must learn to coexist with the forces of change, of destruction, and of renewal, trusting that, like the beasts of Johto, we are part of something much greater than ourselves. Now, as we move into the next part of our journey, let the steady flow of these ancient forces guide you deeper into rest. May the quiet strength of Inti's fire, Raiku's lightning, and Suikune's waters fill you with a peaceful sense of calm as you drift into a deep and restful sleep. In the vast skies above the land of Kanto, there are three ancient and powerful beings whose presence is as majestic as it is mysterious. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are not merely creatures, they are the embodiment of nature's most primal and awe-inspiring elements: ice, electricity, and fire. These three legendary birds are the guardians of the sky, the wind, and the very forces that shape the world from above. They are beings of great power, yet their story is one of balance, of harmony within the chaos of nature's most untamable forces. Articuno, the ice-type legendary bird, is a creature of serene beauty and quiet strength. It is said that Articuno's wings carry the chill of the Arctic winds, and its feathers glisten like the snow-covered mountains under a pale moonlight. Articuno is the embodiment of winter's quiet grace, a creature that glides through the frigid air, its presence a reminder of the delicate balance between stillness and the deep, cold silence of nature's frozen realms. As it soars through the clouds, Articuno is said to bring the first snow of winter, covering the land in a blanket of peace and purity. It represents the stillness and clarity that come with the cold, the quiet moments when everything slows down and the world takes a breath. Yet while Articuno's beauty is undeniable, its power is equally formidable. Its control over ice and snow is not simply a gift of beauty, but a force of nature that can shape the land and calm the storms. The blizzards that follow Articuno's path are not just mere weather, they are the essence of winter itself, sweeping across the land in a stillness that is as dangerous as it is beautiful. Articuno's presence is a reminder that even in the coldest of seasons, there is a kind of peace to be found, a tranquility that comes when the world pauses, if only for a moment. Zapdos, the electric-type legendary bird, is the embodiment of the storm. Its feathers crackle with the energy of 1,000 thunderstorms, and its wings beat with the force of a lightning strike. Zapdos is a creature of immense power, a being whose presence brings the skies to life with the crackle of thunder and the flash of lightning. It is said that when Zapdos takes flight, the heavens themselves tremble and the clouds part to reveal the fury of the storm within. Zapdos is the thunderstorm incarnate, a being whose energy can light up the darkest night and bring the world to its knees with the power of nature's most volatile force. But Zapdos is not just a harbinger of destruction. It is a reminder of the balance between chaos and renewal. The storms it creates may be fierce, but they are also necessary. Lightning is nature's way of cleansing the air, of breaking apart the old to make way for the new. In the wildness of a thunderstorm, there is both danger and rebirth, a reminder that sometimes we must face the storms in our own lives to emerge stronger, clearer. and renewed. Zapdos represents this truth, the power that lies in embracing the storm rather than running from it. Moltres, the fire type legendary bird, is a creature of boundless energy and warmth. Its fiery feathers burn with the intensity of the sun, and its very presence is a reminder of the power of fire to both destroy and create. Moltres is the embodiment of the flame that burns within all things, the spark of life that ignites the world into action. When Moltres spreads its wings, it is said that the air around it grows warm, and the earth beneath it trembles with the heat of its presence. Moltres represents the sun itself, a fiery force that brings light and life to the world, yet also has the power to scorch and burn when its energy is not carefully managed. The flames of Moltres are not just destructive, they are a source of transformation. Just as fire can ravage the earth, it also has the power to clear away the old, making space for the new. The warmth it brings can nurture life, but only if it is controlled and understood. Moltres is a reminder that in life, we must learn to harness our passions, to find balance in the energy that flows through us. Like fire, we can burn brightly, but we must be mindful of how we wield our power, so it does not consume us or those around us. Together, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres form a trinity of elemental forces that govern the sky. They are the natural rulers of the wind and weather, each one controlling a different aspect of nature's raw power. While their individual powers are immense, they are also intertwined, each one balancing the others in a dance as old as the world itself. Articuno's coldness contrasts with Zapdos's fierce storms, and Moltres' fire provides the heat that gives life to the world. Without one, the others could not exist. They are all necessary, all interconnected, a reflection of the balance that nature requires to thrive. But their story is not just about their powers, it is also about their role in the world of Pokémon. These legendary birds are not mere creatures of legend. They are guardians of the sky, protectors of the natural forces that shape the world. The people of Kanto have long revered them, seeing in them not just symbols of power, but the embodiment of the world's most ancient and mysterious elements. The presence of these three legendary birds is a reminder that nature, in all its complexity, is not something to be controlled, but something to be respected. As you lie here, listening to the quiet hum of the night, let the stories of these three legendary birds settle softly into your mind. Let the peaceful grace of Articuno's winter winds, the fierce energy of Zapdos's storms, and the warm glow of Moltres' flames fill you with a sense of awe and reverence for the natural world. These Pokémon, though far beyond the reach of our understanding, are part of the same world we live in. They are guardians of the balance, the reminders that even the wildest forces of nature are part of a greater harmony. Now, as we move on to the next chapter of our journey, let the quiet power of these legendary birds stay with you, their presence a reminder that the world is full of forces much greater than ourselves. And just like the elements they represent, we must learn to live in harmony with them, embracing both their beauty and their power. In the land of Hoenn, where the sky meets the sea and the mountains rise to touch the heavens, there exists a story of three legendary Pokémon whose very existence embodies the balance of nature itself. Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza are not just beings of immense power, they are the living, breathing forces that govern the land, the sea, and the sky. Their story is one of profound connection to the natural world, a reminder of the harmony that must exist between these elements for life to flourish. These three beings are not only guardians, but also symbols of the world's most fundamental forces. The legend begins long before the world was fully shaped, at a time when the earth was still a blank canvas, awaiting the stroke of creation's brush. It was in this primordial time that Kyogre, the Pokémon of the sea, first emerged from the depths of the oceans. Kyogre is said to have shaped the seas themselves, its power over water as vast as the ocean itself. With every movement of its fins, the tides rose and fell, the ocean swelled, and the rain fell from the skies in torrents, bringing life to the barren world. Kyogre's connection to the sea is not merely one of power, but of life-giving sustenance. The oceans that Kyogre commands are the lifeblood of the planet, teeming with creatures and energy that sustain all of existence. The waters that flow from Kyogre's domain nourish the land, filling rivers, lakes, and oceans with the moisture necessary for life to thrive. But Kyogre's power is not just one of beauty and calm. It is a reminder that the sea is also a force of great fury. When Kyogre's rage is stirred, the waters rise in devastating storms, hurricanes, and tidal waves, showing that nature's gifts are not always gentle, but come with the potential for destruction. Yet even in its fury, Kyogre's power serves a purpose, for it is only through the chaotic storms and the raging waters that the earth is cleansed and renewed. The seas bring both life and death, and Kyogre embodies this duality. The creatures of the ocean find their home in the depths of Kyogre's waters, and it is this vast, ever-moving sea that sustains the planet's ecosystems, ensuring that life can continue. In contrast, Groudon, the Pokémon of the land, emerged from the heart of the earth itself, a creature born of molten rock and the so very force that drives the planet's continents. Groudon's power is one of earth-shaking strength, its massive body capable of causing the land to tremble and crack beneath its weight. Groudon's connection to the earth is one of creation, a force that shapes the mountains and valleys, the deserts and plains. It is said that Groudon's steps caused the land to rise from the sea, creating the continents and bringing the world into its current shape. Where Kyogre brings the rain and the water, Groudon brings the heat and the sun. Its power over the land is one of scorching intensity, and its very presence brings the sun's fierce rays to bear upon the earth. The deserts, the dry savannas, and the open plains are all shaped by Groudon's influence, and where it treads, the land flourishes under the warmth of its light. Yet just as with Kyogre, Groudon's power can also be a force of destruction. The droughts and the blistering heat that follow Groudon's presence can dry up rivers, scorch the land, and make it inhospitable to life. But Groudon, too, serves a purpose. The land that it shapes is not only a place of harshness and struggle, it is a place of growth and vitality. It is in the sun's warmth that the crops grow, that life flourishes, and that the seeds of the future are planted. Groudon's power is a reminder that the earth, like the sea, is both a creator and a destroyer. It is a force that brings balance, ensuring that life on the land is both sustained and challenged. Between these two mighty forces, the sea and the land, there exists a delicate balance, a harmony that must be maintained for the world to thrive. And so, it is in the sky that Rayquaza, the guardian of the atmosphere, resides. Rayquaza is the Pokemon that maintains the balance between Kyogre's rains and Groudon's heat, ensuring that neither force overpowers the other. Rayquaza's domain is the sky, and it is said that it soars high above the earth, watching over the battles between Kyogre and Groudon, ensuring that neither becomes too powerful or too destructive. Rayquaza is the peacekeeper, the one who ensures that the elements remain in balance. Rayquaza's power is one of both tranquility and might. It is said that Rayquaza controls the very winds and clouds, and its wings can stir the atmosphere with the gentlest of breezes or the fiercest of storms. The sky itself seems to respond to Rayquaza's presence, and when it moves, the winds change, the clouds part, and the air itself seems to hold its breath. Rayquaza does not act out of malice, but out of a deep understanding of the world's need for balance. It is the embodiment of the sky's vastness, its beauty, and its power. Together, these three, Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza, form a trinity of elements that govern the world of Hoenn. Their existence is a reminder that the natural world is full of forces that are both beautiful and terrifying, both gentle and fierce. These legendary Pokemon are not mere symbols of power. They are the very essence of nature's most vital elements, each one playing a crucial role in the delicate balance that sustains the world. As you listen to the soft rhythm of your breath, let the story of Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza settle gently in your mind. Feel the cool waters of Kyogre's oceans, the warmth of Groudon's sun, and the gentle winds that Rayquaza stirs with each movement. These three Pokemon, though vast and mighty, are a reminder that the world is made up of delicate balances, and that it is through harmony between the forces of nature that life can continue to thrive. Now, as we move into the next part of our journey, let the peaceful balance of these legendary Pokemon guide you deeper into a restful sleep. May their stories bring you a sense of calm and understanding, reminding you that the forces of the world are both powerful and harmonious, and that there is always a place for balance in our lives. In the distant land of Hoenn, where ancient mysteries are whispered among the winds, and the earth holds secrets that stretch back to the dawn of time, there exists a trio of legendary Pokemon whose very being embodies the primal forces of nature itself. The Regitrio, Regius, Registeel, and Regirock, are Pokemon whose existence is as ancient as the world itself. They are not simply creatures, they are the keepers of the Earth's most fundamental elements, each one embodying a force that shapes the world's natural order. Their story is one of timelessness, of guardianship, and of the deep, unspoken bond between the land and its protectors. The tale of the Regitrio begins in the far-flung reaches of Hoenn, in the icy depths of the mountains, the burning heart of the earth, and the jagged cliffs that rise to touch the sky. It is said that these three Pokemon were born from the ancient powers that shaped the world in its earliest days. Regis, born of ice and cold, Registeel, forged in the fires of the earth's core, and Regirock, formed from the very rocks and stones that make up the planet's surface. These three Pokemon are the embodiment of the world's most essential elements, ice, steel, and rock, and their creation marked the beginning of a new era for the Earth. Regis, the ice-type legendary Pokemon, is the embodiment of the cold, stillness, and quiet power of winter. It is said that Regis was formed in the heart of a frozen, uncharted land, where the cold permeates everything and the silence is so profound that one can hear the crunch of snow underfoot echo through the vast expanse. Regis's body is made of pure, unbreakable ice, and its presence brings with it the chill of 1,000 winters. The freezing winds that blow from Regis's body are said to be capable of freezing anything they touch, and its mere gaze can turn the very air to frost. Regis is a Pokémon of stillness and tranquility, a creature whose power lies in its ability to remain motionless, frozen in time, like the ice it was born from. It is said that Regis has the ability to freeze entire landscapes, turning the world into a frozen, crystalline wonderland. But beneath its cold exterior, Regis holds a quiet wisdom. It knows that ice, while beautiful and serene, is also a force of destruction. The frozen landscapes it creates can be inhospitable, cold, and barren, but they are also a reminder of the need for balance in the world. For even the coldest winters give way to the warmth of spring, and even the harshest of seasons eventually passes, making room for new growth and life. Registeel, the Steel-type legendary Pokémon, is the embodiment of the unyielding strength of metal and the enduring power of the earth itself. It is said that Registeel was forged in the heart of the earth, where the heat of the planet's core meets the pressure of the crust, creating a being of incredible durability and strength. Registeel's body is made of an unbreakable steel-like substance, and its form is as sleek and imposing as the strongest metal. Its presence is one of quiet, unwavering resolve. Where Regis's power is cold and still, Registeel's is solid and steadfast. It stands as a symbol of the strength that lies beneath the earth's surface, a reminder that even the hardest of rocks and metals can be shaped and formed by the forces of nature. Registeel's power is not just in its unbreakable body, but in its ability to endure. It is a Pokémon that represents the perseverance of the earth itself, the force that stands strong against the test of time and the pressures of the world. The steel that makes up Registeel's body is resistant to the forces that would seek to break it, and its presence brings a sense of stability to the world around it. Yet despite its immense strength, Registeel's power is also a reminder that endurance is not about never changing, but about being able to adapt to the changing world around it. Registeel is not a static force. It is a force that endures and transforms, like the metal that is shaped by the hammer's blow. Regirock, the rock-type legendary Pokémon, is the embodiment of the earth itself, solid, grounded, and eternal. It is said that Regirock was formed from the very rocks that make up the earth's surface, its body a mass of stone and boulders that have stood the test of time. Regirock's form is one of jagged edges and rough surfaces, a being of pure rock, yet beneath its rugged exterior lies a deep connection to the earth's heart. Regirock is the Pokémon of the land, the one who shapes the mountains and the valleys, the one who brings stability to the earth with its powerful presence. Where Regis is cold and still, and Registeel is unyielding and strong, Regirock's power lies in its connection to the earth's natural processes. It is said that Regirock's movements are slow and deliberate, but its strength is unmatched. The very ground shakes beneath its feet, and the mountains tremble when it walks. Regirock's body is a reflection of the earth's raw power, unchanging, enduring, and eternal. Its presence reminds us that the earth is both a place of great stability and great transformation, for even the strongest rocks are shaped by the winds and the waters, and the mountains themselves are slowly worn down by the passage of time. Together, these three Pokemon, Regis, Registeel, and Regirock, form a powerful trio of elemental forces that represent the balance of nature itself. They are not merely creatures of great power. They are the keepers of the Earth's most fundamental elements, the guardians of the forces that shape the world. Each one brings a unique force to the balance of the world, and together they ensure that the Earth remains strong, resilient, and full of life. As you lie here, dear friend, let the story of the Regi Trio fill you with a sense of peace and understanding. Feel the cold winds of Regis, the unbreakable strength of Registeel, and the grounding presence of Regirock surround you. These Pokemon, born of the Earth's most primal elements, are a reminder that even in the face of great power, there is always balance. There is always harmony, even in the harshest of conditions. And now, as we move toward the next chapter of our journey, let the quiet strength of these three legendary Pokemon guide you deeper into rest. May their story bring you a sense of calm, and may you find the same resilience and balance within yourself as you settle into the peaceful embrace of sleep. Far from the mountains of Hoenn and the frozen expanses of Sinnoh, in the vibrant region of Unova, there exists a trio of legendary Pokemon whose powers are as wild and untamed as the very forces of nature itself. Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus, known collectively as the forces of nature, are Pokemon who embody the untamable power of wind, lightning, and earth. Their story is not just one of great might, but of the forces that govern the air we breathe, the storms that shape our world, and the ground beneath our feet. Together, these three Pokemon represent the balance of nature, and their existence reminds us that the natural world is full of both beauty and chaos, and yet it is always striving for harmony. The legend of the forces of nature begins in ancient times, long before Unova was fully shaped. It is said that Tornadus, the embodiment of the wind, was the first to appear. Born from the swirling winds that whipped through the skies, Tornadus has the power to command the very atmosphere itself. With a single flap of its wings, it can stir the air into violent tornadoes, or gently coax the wind into a soft breeze. Tornadus embodies the uncontrollable forces of nature, the chaotic gusts that can either nurture or destroy, depending on their strength and direction. Tornadus's presence is both awe-inspiring and humbling. It is a reminder that the wind, though invisible and intangible, is one of the most powerful forces in the world. The winds that Tornadus controls have the ability to shape landscapes, erode mountains, and carry seeds across vast distances, allowing life to flourish in new places. Yet these same winds can also tear down buildings, uproot trees, and devastate entire regions. Tornadus is not a creature of destruction, but of change, and it is through this change that the world remains in motion, constantly evolving, shifting, and adapting. But Tornadus is not alone in its power. The next force to emerge was Thundurus, the embodiment of lightning and storms. Thundurus is a Pokemon whose very presence crackles with the energy of 1,000 thunderstorms, its body surrounded by an electric aura that pulses with the power of the storm. It is said that Thundurus has the ability to summon thunderstorms with the flick of its tail, causing lightning to strike with pinpoint precision and thunder to roll through the skies. Its wings, charged with electricity, allow it to soar across the heavens at incredible speeds, leaving a trail of sparks in its wake. Thunderous is a creature of intensity and power. Its connection to the storm, a reminder of the wild, untamed nature of the world. Lightning, while beautiful and awe inspiring, is also dangerous and unpredictable. Thunderous's storms represent both the destructive and the rejuvenating aspects of nature's power. The lightning that strikes from the sky may bring fires, but it also brings the essential charge needed to nourish the earth, allowing plants to grow and animals to thrive. Thunderous reminds us that in the chaos of the storm, there is also a cycle of life, renewal, and energy. Finally, there is Landorus, the embodiment of the earth itself. Where Tornadus controls the wind and Thunderous commands the storm, Landorus is the protector of the land, the stabilizing force that ensures the balance between the sky and the earth. Landorus's body is shaped like that of a mighty genie, and it is said to have the power to manipulate the ground beneath its feet, causing the earth to tremble, the rivers to change course, and the mountains to rise and fall. Landorus is the embodiment of the land's enduring strength, the force that creates and sustains life on earth. Landorus's connection to the land is not just one of raw power, but of nourishment. The earth provides the foundation for all life, and it is Landorus who ensures that the land remains fertile and abundant. It is said that when Landorus is present, the crops grow tall, the animals are healthy, and the land is in harmony. However, when Landorus's power is disturbed, the land can become barren, and the balance of nature can be thrown off. Landorus is the reminder that the earth, like the air and the storms, requires balance. It is a force of creation, but also of destruction, for the earth itself can shake, crack, and crumble if it is not properly tended. Together, Tornadus, Thunderous, and Landorus form the forces of nature, a trio of Pokémon whose powers shape the world in ways both seen and unseen. These Pokémon represent the forces that govern the sky, the air, and the earth, forces that are both beautiful and dangerous, gentle and fierce. Yet despite their great power, the forces of nature are not creatures of destruction. They are the guardians of the world's natural balance. Tornadus's winds, Thunderous's storms, and Landorus's earth-shaping abilities ensure that the world remains in motion, constantly shifting, constantly changing, but always striving for harmony. The people of Unova view the forces of nature not as mere legends, but as sacred beings, each one embodying an aspect of the world that must be respected and understood. Tornadus's winds bring the rain that nourishes the land. Thunderus's storms provide the energy needed for life to flourish, and Landorus's earth shapes the world, providing the foundation upon which all life rests. These Pokemon are not just powerful, they are essential to the world's balance, and their presence ensures that life can continue, even in the face of chaos and change. As you rest here tonight, let the story of the forces of nature fill you with a sense of calm and connection to the world around you. The winds of Tornadus, the storms of Thundurus, and the earth of Landorus are always present, whether we see them or not. These Pokemon remind us that the natural world is a place of constant motion and change, yet there is beauty and power in that movement. Even in the storms, there is a rhythm, a balance that sustains life and allows it to flourish. Now, as we move into the next part of our journey, let the calming energy of these three legendary Pokemon guide you deeper into rest. May the winds, the storms, and the earth themselves wrap you in their soothing embrace, and may you find the peace and balance that comes with understanding the forces of nature. In the sweeping skies above Unova, where the winds carry the scent of faraway lands and the rivers carve through vast plains, there exists a tale of three legendary dragons whose very existence is tied to the ideals of truth, ideals, and the balance between them. Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem, each a force of nature in its own right, are not just Pokemon. They are the embodiment of powerful concepts that shape not only the world of Unova, but the very fabric of existence itself. Their presence is a reminder that the world is not just made up of physical elements, but of beliefs, ideals, and the intangible forces that govern our hearts and minds. The story of these three legendary dragons begins long ago, in a time when the world was still young and the struggle between truth and ideals was beginning to shape the land. In this age, two beings appeared to personify the two powerful forces that would shape the future of Unova. The first, Reshiram, is the embodiment of truth, the fire that burns with the power of reality itself. It is said that Reshiram's wings are made of pure flame, and its very presence brings light and warmth to the world. Reshiram's power lies not only in its ability to control fire, but in its connection to the truth of the world. It is a Pokemon that represents clarity, the fire of revelation that burns away the shadows of deceit and illusion, revealing the world as it truly is. Reshiram's truth is not a simple thing. It is the truth of the world, of the heart, and of the soul. It is a force that brings light to the darkness, that illuminates the path ahead with the warmth of understanding. Where Reshiram walks, the world is bathed in light, and the truth becomes clear. Yet Reshiram's power is not just one of clarity. It is also a reminder that truth can be both comforting and painful. The truth, like fire, can warm and heal, but it can also burn. Reshiram's flames are a reminder that facing the truth requires strength, and that sometimes the light reveals not just beauty, but also the harsh realities that lie hidden beneath the surface. Opposite Reshiram, standing in contrast to its light and warmth, is Zekrom, the embodiment of ideals, the darkness that fuels the strength of belief and determination. Zekrom is a Pokemon of incredible power, its body crackling with the energy of the storm, its wings beating with the power of electricity. Zekrom is a creature of strength, but not just physical strength. It is the power of ideals, the unwavering belief in the truth of one's purpose. Zekrom's power is the power of conviction, the force that drives individuals to stand firm in their beliefs, no matter the obstacles they face. It is said that when Zekrom roars, the very heavens tremble, and the sky is filled with the sound of thunder and the crackle of electricity. Zekrom's ideals are not the same as Reshiram's truth. Ideals are not about what is, but about what should be. Zekrom is the embodiment of the belief that we can shape the world according to our dreams, our desires, and our vision of what is possible. Its power is the energy that drives progress, that fuels the journey toward a better future. But Zekrom's ideals are not always easy or gentle. They are a force of change, and change can be difficult and painful. Zekrom reminds us that pursuing our ideals often requires sacrifice, determination, and the willingness to fight for what we believe in, no matter the cost. The third dragon, Kyurem, stands as the bridge between these two powerful forces, truth and ideals. Kyurem is the embodiment of the balance between the two, a Pokemon whose very existence represents the tension between what is real and what is imagined. Kyurem is a being of ice, its body formed from the cold of space itself. It is said that Kyurem's heart is frozen, locked in a state of perpetual stillness, for it is the keeper of the frozen truth that lies between Reshiram's fiery truth and Zekrom's passionate ideals. Kyurem's ice is not just a cold, it is the coldness of indecision, of the space between two forces, of the uncertainty that exists when neither truth nor ideals can dominate. Kyurem's power is unique. It is not a force that embodies creation or destruction, but rather the power of restraint, of the quiet space that exists between opposing forces. It is said that Kyurem's presence can freeze time itself, locking everything in place until the balance between truth and ideals is restored. Kyurem represents the need for balance in the world, the understanding that neither truth nor ideals can exist without the other, and that true harmony can only be achieved when both forces are in equilibrium. While Reshiram and Zekrom embody the extremes of truth and ideals, Kyurem is the reminder that balance is essential. Truth and ideals are not absolute. They are forces that must work together, not in conflict, but in understanding. Kyurem's role in the world is to preserve this balance, to ensure that neither force overwhelms the other, and to remind the world that both truth and ideals are necessary to guide us forward. Together, these three legendary dragons, Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem, represent the fundamental forces that shape not just Unova, but the entire world. They are not simply creatures of power, they are the living embodiments of truth, ideals, and the balance between them. Their presence is a reminder that the world is not made up of absolutes, but of forces that are constantly in motion, constantly seeking harmony. The light of Reshiram's truth, the energy of Zekrom's ideals, and the stillness of Kyurem's balance are the three pillars upon which the world stands. As you settle into the peaceful rhythm of your breath, let the story of these three legendary dragons fill you with a sense of calm and understanding. Reshiram's truth burns bright, Zekrom's ideals give strength, and Kyurem's balance holds them together. Each of these forces is a necessary part of the world, just as each of them is a necessary part of your own journey. Now, as we move toward the next part of our journey, let the energy of these three legendary dragons guide you toward a peaceful rest. May their stories remind you that the world is not made of absolutes, but of forces that must work together in harmony, just as the truth and ideals must coexist in balance within us all. Deep within the heart of the Sinnoh region, where the mountains rise in quiet majesty and the rivers flow like ancient memories, there exists a legend as old as the world itself, a legend of three Pokémon who embody the very essence of creation. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, known as the Creation Trio, are not just legendary Pokémon. They are the very forces that govern time, space, and antimatter. Their story is one of balance, creation, and destruction, a reminder that the universe is held together not just by the elements we can see, but by the forces that we cannot. The legend of the Creation Trio begins in the early days of the universe, when time had no meaning and space was nothing but a vast, endless expanse. It is said that from the very fabric of the cosmos, three beings emerged, each one embodying one of the most fundamental forces of existence. The first of these was Dialga, the Pokémon who controlled time itself. Dialga is a creature of immense power, its body shimmering with the glow of countless stars. It is said that with every beat of its wings, time itself flows, creating moments and memories, past and future. Dialga is the embodiment of the unyielding passage of time, a force that moves in one direction, without pause, without end. Dialga's power is not just in its ability to control time, but in its role as the guardian of its flow. It is said that without Dialga, time itself would unravel, causing the universe to fall into chaos. Dialga's presence is a reminder that time is both a gift and a burden. Time moves forward, ever onward, bringing with it both joy and sorrow, beginnings and endings. Yet Dialga is not just a symbol of the relentless march of time, it is also a reminder of the beauty that comes with it. Time brings change, growth, and evolution, and it is through time that the world is allowed to become what it is. Opposite Dialga, in the vast expanse of space, Palkia emerged. Palkia is the embodiment of space itself, vast, limitless, and ever expanding. It is said that Palkia's body is composed of the very fabric of space, its form shifting and warping with the very curvature of the universe. Palkia's wings are said to shimmer with the light of distant galaxies, and its power is such that it can alter the very dimensions of reality. Palkia does not merely exist in space, it creates the very spaces that make up the universe, shaping the stars, the planets, and the galaxies with its will. Where Dialga controls time, Palkia controls the dimensions in which that time unfolds. Palkia's power over space allows it to manipulate the very nature of reality itself, bending it to its will. It is a creature of immense beauty and mystery, a force that shapes the universe as we know it. Yet Palkia's power is not just one of creation, it is also a reminder of the vastness and the unknown. Space is infinite, and Palkia embodies this boundlessness, reminding us that the universe is not just what we can see, but what lies beyond our understanding. In the vastness of space, there are infinite possibilities, infinite worlds, and infinite wonders waiting to be discovered. But where there is time and space, there must also be antimatter, the dark and mysterious force that lies in the shadows of the universe. And so Giratina, the third member of the creation trio, emerged. Giratina is the embodiment of antimatter, the force that stands in opposition to both time and space. It is said that Giratina's body is composed of the very essence of antimatter, a substance that exists in the void between worlds, in the dark, places where time and space no longer hold sway. Giratina is the keeper of the distortion world, a realm that exists parallel to our own, where the laws of time and space break down and the rules of the universe no longer apply. Giratina's power is both fearsome and mysterious. It is a creature that exists outside of the normal flow of time, a being who exists in the gaps between worlds. Giratina's presence is a reminder that the universe is not just a place of order, but of chaos, a place where the unknown and the unpredictable reside. While Dialga and Palkia represent the forces that shape the world, Giratina represents the forces that seek to disrupt that balance, to challenge the order of the universe. But Giratina's power is not one of destruction. It is the force that keeps the universe in check, the shadow that stands between light and darkness, order and chaos. Together, these three Pokémon, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, form the very foundation of the universe. They are the guardians of time, space, and antimatter, the forces that keep the universe in balance. Without them, the fabric of existence would unravel, and the world as we know it would cease to exist. Dialga, with its control over time, Palkia with its mastery of space, and Giratina with its dominion over antimatter are the pillars that hold the universe together. Their story is not just one of power, but of harmony. Time, space, and antimatter are not opposing forces. They are complementary forces, each one necessary for the others to exist. Dialga's time cannot exist without Palkia's space, and Palkia's space cannot exist without Giratina's antimatter. Together, they create a balance that allows the universe to flourish, to grow, and to evolve. The creation trio is a reminder that the world and the universe is made up of forces that must work together in harmony, each one playing a vital role in the grand design of existence. As you settle into the quiet rhythm of your breath, let the story of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina fill you with a sense of awe and wonder. These three Pokemon, though vastly different in their powers, are united by a common purpose to maintain the balance of the universe. Just as they balance the forces of time, space, and antimatter, so too must we find balance in our own lives. We must learn to embrace both the order and the chaos, the known and the unknown, for it is through this balance that we find our place in the world. Now, as we move into the next part of our journey, let the quiet power of the creation trio guide you deeper into rest. May their presence remind you that the universe is a place of infinite beauty and mystery, where balance and harmony are the keys to existence. In the realm of legends, where stories are passed down through the ages like whispers on the wind, there exists a trio of remarkable Pokémon, each one a symbol of wonder, mystery, and power. Hoopa and Volcanion, though often seen as separate entities in their own right, are tied together in the myths of the Pokémon world. Their stories intertwine with themes of magic, transformation, and the forces of nature, each Pokémon representing a unique and vital element of the world. These legends, filled with their own rich and mysterious histories, continue to captivate the hearts of all who hear their tales. The first of these Pokémon is Hoopa, a mischievous and playful creature whose powers are both extraordinary and mystifying. Hoopa is a Pokémon known for its ability to bend the fabric of space itself. With its magical rings, Hoopa can create portals to distant locations, transporting itself and others across vast distances in the blink of an eye. These rings, glowing with an otherworldly energy, are a symbol of Hoopa's unique connection to the unseen forces of the universe. Hoopa's power is not just one of movement, it is a force that transcends time and space, allowing the Pokémon to move between worlds, bending reality with a flick of its wrists. Hoopa is not merely a creature of power, it is also one of great curiosity and adventure. Known for its playful nature, Hoopa often finds itself caught between the realms of mischief and responsibility. Though its heart is light-hearted, its power is immense, and it often finds itself in situations that test both its wits and its will. Hoopa's magical rings are not only tools of transportation, but are also a symbol of its ability to bridge the gap between the known and the unknown. Through its rings, Hoopa connects the farthest reaches of the world, creating bonds that transcend the barriers of space and time. Yet despite its playful nature, Hoopa's power is not to be underestimated. It is said that when Hoopa is angered, its rings become portals to darker, more chaotic forces. The mischievous nature of Hoopa can sometimes give way to more sinister possibilities, especially when its power is unleashed recklessly. Hoopa's story is a reminder that magic, like all forces of nature, must be respected and understood. While Hoopa can bring forth the wonder of the universe with a single gesture, it also carries within it the capacity for great chaos. The balance of the world, like the magic Hoopa commands, lies in understanding the responsibility that comes with such immense power. In contrast to Hoopa's whimsical abilities, that is Volcanion, a Pokemon born from the depths of the Earth's most primal forces. Volcanion is a fire water type Pokemon, and its power lies in the mastery of steam, an element that represents both the Earth's fiery core and the life giving waters that flow through the land. Volcanion is said to be a living embodiment of the conflict between fire and water, forces that are often seen as opposites, but in Volcanion's case, work together in perfect harmony. This rare and mysterious Pokemon controls the power of steam, creating a volatile mix of heat and pressure that is capable of transforming its surroundings. Volcanion's body is said to be surrounded by a thick mist, emanating steam with every movement. It carries the heat of a volcanic eruption, yet the water that flows from it is cool and refreshing, a testament to its ability to control the balance between these opposing elements. Volcanion's ability to manipulate steam allows it to control both the land and the sky, creating explosive bursts of power when needed, while also cooling the earth and refreshing the air with the power of water. Volcanion is not merely a creature of destruction, it is a symbol of transformation, of the way two forces can come together to create something entirely new and beautiful. Though Volcanion's power is often seen as destructive, it also represents creation. Volcanion's ability to release steam is a reminder that heat and water, when balanced, are essential to life. The steam that flows from Volcanion's body is not just a weapon, it is a force of life, bringing energy to the world and sustaining the very cycles of nature. Volcanion is a Pokemon that embodies the harmony between opposites, and its power shows that even the most volatile forces can be balanced to create something greater than the sum of their parts. These two Pokemon, Hoopa and Volcanion, may seem to come from different realms of existence, one from the realm of space and magic, the other from the heart of the Earth's most powerful forces, but their stories are connected by a shared theme of transformation. Hoopa, with its ability to bend space and move between worlds, represents the limitless possibilities of the unknown. It is a creature that reminds us that the world is full of mysteries, some of which we may never fully understand, but all of which are worth exploring. Volcanion, on the other hand, represents the transformation of forces that seem opposed to each other, fire and water, into something that sustains life and creates new possibilities. Together, they symbolize the balance between the seen and unseen, the known and unknown, and the power of transformation. In the grand story of the Pokemon world, Hoopa and Volcanion stand as two sides of the same coin. They are creatures of immense power, yes, but also of profound wisdom. Hoopa's journey is one of discovery, learning to harness the forces it commands with care and respect. Volcanion's journey is one of balance, understanding that true strength comes not from dominating the elements, but from learning to work with them. As you rest here tonight, dear friend, let the stories of Hoopa and Volcanion fill you with a sense of calm and awe. Hoopa's magic and Volcanion's power remind us that the world is full of mysteries and wonders waiting to be discovered. The magic of Hoopa's rings and the steam of Vulcanian's power are not just symbols of might, they are symbols of the potential within us all to transform, to connect, and to create balance in our own lives. Let these stories guide you into a restful, peaceful sleep where the mysteries of the universe unfold softly in your dreams. In the regions of Kalos and Alola, two places where the landscapes are as varied and beautiful as the stars in the sky, the tales of legendary Pokémon are woven into the very fabric of their cultures. These regions, each unique in its beauty and history, are home to Pokémon whose stories embody life, death, and balance in ways that reflect the delicate equilibrium between the elements of light and dark. The legendary Pokémon of Kalos and Alola are creatures of grace, power, and deep connection to the natural world, guiding their respective regions through struggles and triumphs that transcend time itself. The first of these legendary Pokémon is Xerneas, the embodiment of life itself, who hails from the region of Kalos. Xerneas is said to have the power to grant life, bringing vitality to the land with every step it takes. Its body glows with a soft, radiant light, like the dawn's first rays, and its antler-like horns shimmer with the energy of life. Xerneas is a Pokémon that represents the life force that flows through all living things. In the stories of Kalos, it is said that Xerneas brought life to the region, filling the land with lush forests, blooming flowers, and flowing rivers. Wherever Xerneas travels, the world flourishes with new beginnings, and its presence is a reminder of the beauty that comes with creation. But Xerneas is not just a creature of growth and renewal, it is also a symbol of the delicate balance of life. Its power to grant life is not limitless. It must be used with care and wisdom. The stories of Xerneas remind the people of Kalos that all life is precious and must be protected. Just as Xerneas nurtures the world around it, so too must we nurture the relationships, the environments, and the creatures that share our world. Life, after all, is fragile, and it is through understanding and respect for that fragility that true harmony can be achieved. In contrast to Xerneas, Yveltal, the embodiment of destruction, also hails from Kalos. Yveltal is a Pokémon that represents the inevitable end of all things, a creature of immense power whose very presence brings with it the winds of change and the finality of death. Its dark wings stretch wide, casting a shadow that seems to darken the very sky, and its eyes glow with a fierce, unyielding intensity. Yveltal's power is the force of destruction that follows every creation, the darkness that is necessary for the cycle of life and death to continue. Yveltal's presence is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. It is said that when Yveltal spreads its wings, life itself begins to fade and the world around it withers. This Pokémon embodies the truth that in order for life to continue, death must exist. The two forces are not opposites, but companions, locked in an eternal dance. Where Xerneas gives life, Yveltal takes it away, and through this balance, the world remains in motion. The stories of Yveltal remind us that death is not something to be feared, but something to be understood. It is a natural part of the cycle, just as important as life itself. Without death, there can be no new beginnings. The relationship between Xerneas and Yveltal is a reflection of the delicate balance that exists within the world. The two are not enemies, but rather the keepers of the natural order. Without life, there can be no death, and without death, there can be no life. Jernius and Eviltal are the eternal symbols of this truth, reminding us that both creation and destruction are necessary forces, working in tandem to sustain the world's ever turning wheel. In the distant region of Alola, where the sun always seems to shine brightly over lush jungles and the turquoise waters lap gently against the shore, there exist two legendary Pokémon that also embody the themes of balance and harmony: Solgaleo and Lunala. Solgaleo, the sun Pokémon, represents the light that guides the day, while Lunala, the moon Pokémon, embodies the mysteries of the night. Together, they are the guardians of Alola, and their powers are as intertwined as the cycles of day and night themselves. Solgaleo is a Pokemon whose presence brings warmth and light, a creature of brilliant white and gold that shines with the energy of the sun itself. It is said that Solgaleo's body is a mirror of the sun's powerful rays, and its steps bring with them the promise of a new day. Solgaleo represents the energy that drives the world forward, the force of light that fuels life and growth. It is the symbol of strength, of vitality, and of the light that guides us through the darkest times. But Solgaleo's power is not only one of illumination, it is also the embodiment of protection. In the stories of Alola, Solgaleo is said to guard the region against darkness, ensuring that the light never fades and that the balance between day and night remains intact. Lunala, in contrast, is a creature of the night, its body shimmering with the soft glow of the moon. It is said that Lunala's wings are made of the very light that shines from the moon itself, and its presence brings the mysteries of the night into focus. Lunala represents the quiet, contemplative power of the moon, the force that governs the tides, the sleep of the world, and the mysteries that unfold in the darkness. Where Solgaleo brings the heat and the light of the sun, Lunala brings the cool, soothing light of the moon, guiding the way through the night and allowing the world to rest. Together, Solgaleo and Lunala form the duality of light and dark, day and night, the two forces that govern the flow of time. Their power is a reminder that both light and darkness are necessary for the balance of the world. Without day, there can be no night, and without night, there can be no day. Solgaleo and Lunala are not just protectors of Alola, they are the guardians of the balance between light and dark, reminding the people of Alola that both forces must be respected and embraced. Just as the sun and the moon guide us through our days and nights, so too must we learn to navigate the balance between the light and the darkness in our own lives. As you listen to the story of these legendary Pokemon, let their presence fill you with a sense of peace and understanding. Xerneas and Eviltal, Solgaleo and Lunala are not just creatures of myth. They are symbols of the natural forces that govern life, death, and balance. Their stories remind us that all things are connected and that every force, whether it is the warmth of the sun or the cold of the moon, has its place in the world. Now, as we move into the next part of our journey, let the gentle rhythms of these stories guide you deeper into a peaceful rest. May the balance of life and death, light and dark, be with you as you drift into the quiet embrace of sleep. Far beyond the borders of the known world, there exists a realm where the laws of nature break down, where the very fabric of reality itself is stretched thin. It is in this strange and unknown dimension that the Ultra Beasts reside, enigmatic creatures unlike any others in the Pokemon world. These beings, whose origins are shrouded in mystery, exist in a space that defies comprehension, a space known only as the Ultra Dimension. The Ultra Beasts are not simply powerful Pokemon, they are symbols of the unknown, the vast, uncharted reaches of the universe that lie beyond our understanding. The Ultra Beasts are a reflection of the most profound questions we ask about the world and the universe. Where do they come from? What is their purpose? How do they fit into the natural order of the Pokemon world? These are questions that have no simple answers, for the Ultra Beasts are not bound by the same rules that govern the other creatures of the world. Their very existence is a reminder that there is so much more to the universe than what we can see or understand. The first of the Ultra Beasts to be discovered was Nihilego, a strange and otherworldly being whose appearance is as alien as it is captivating. Nihilego is a creature made entirely of a translucent, jellyfish like substance, its body composed of an ethereal, glowing material that seems to pulse with an energy of its own. Its tendrils reach out like the long arms of an ancient creature, and its gaze is both hypnotic and unsettling. Nihilego is a creature of beauty and danger, a being whose connection to the Ultra Dimension is undeniable. It is said that Nihilego's presence causes the very air around it to shimmer, bending reality itself as it moves through space. Nihilego's power lies in its ability to manipulate the minds of those it encounters. With a single touch, Nihilego can influence the thoughts and actions of those around it, luring them into its grasp with a gentle, persuasive pull. It is a creature of temptation, drawing others toward it with a sense of calm and mystery, only to reveal its true nature when the bond has been formed. Nihilego is not evil, but it is a creature of the Ultra Dimension, and as such, it does not follow the same rules as other Pokemon. It exists in a space where the boundaries of reality and illusion blur, and it is through this disconnection from the physical world that Nihilego exerts its power. In contrast to Nihilego's ethereal, mind-bending powers, another Ultra Beast, Buzzwole, represents the raw, physical force that lies beyond the known realms. Buzzwole is a creature of immense strength, its body a hulking mass of muscle covered in a smooth, shiny exoskeleton. It is said that Buzzwole's sheer power is capable of sending tremors through the ground with every step it takes. Buzzwole's wings are like those of an insect, vast and powerful, allowing it to soar through the air with incredible speed and agility. Despite its intimidating appearance, Buzzwole's power is not just one of brute force. It is a force that seeks to test its own limits, pushing itself to the edge of its strength with every movement. Buzzwole is a symbol of physicality and endurance. It is not just a creature of strength. It is a creature that thrives on challenges, always seeking to push itself further. Its existence in the Ultra Dimension is a reminder that there are forces of nature that exist outside of our understanding, creatures that embody the raw power of the universe, forces that are not bound by the rules of the natural world. Buzzwole is a being that exists to challenge, to test the limits of what is possible, and to push the boundaries of its own existence. Next, we encounter another Ultra Beast, Pheromosa, a creature of grace, elegance, and unnerving speed. Pheromosa is a Pokemon unlike any other, its body long and slender, built for movement and agility. Its wings are delicate yet powerful, allowing it to move with the grace of a dancer, effortlessly gliding through the air. Pheromosa is a being of beauty and precision. a creature that strikes with the speed of a comet, leaving little more than a blur in its wake. Its movements are so fast that it can appear in one place and vanish before anyone can catch a glimpse. Pheromosa's power is in its speed, its ability to outpace and outmaneuver any opponent with a fluidity that is both mesmerizing and dangerous. It is a creature that lives in motion, a symbol of the universe's most fleeting and delicate forces. But Pheromosa is not just a creature of movement, it is a being that embodies the concept of fleeting beauty, of moments that pass before they are even fully realized. Pheromosa exists in the ultra dimension, where time and space are distorted, and it is through its unmatched speed that it embodies the idea that even the most beautiful and fragile things in the world can slip away before we even have a chance to understand them. While the Ultra Beasts represent different aspects of the unknown, be it power, beauty, or grace, they are all connected by one common thread. They are not creatures of the physical world, but of a dimension that lies just beyond our reach. They are Pokémon that exist in a space where the rules of reality do not apply, beings that challenge our understanding of what is possible and what is not. And yet, despite their alien nature, the Ultra Beasts also remind us of the interconnectedness of the universe, the way in which all forces, whether known or unknown, must work together to maintain balance. As you lie here, feeling the gentle rise and fall of your breath, let the story of the Ultra Beasts fill your mind with wonder and awe. These creatures, whose power transcends the physical world, are a reminder that there is so much more to the universe than what we can see or touch. Their existence is a reflection of the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding, and their presence in the Pokemon world invites us to embrace the unknown, to explore the limits of what is possible, and to recognize that there is beauty and power in the things we cannot fully comprehend. Now, as we move into the next part of our journey, let the mystery of the Ultra Beasts linger softly in your thoughts, guiding you deeper into the calm of rest. May their enigmatic nature inspire you to embrace the wonders of the unknown as you drift gently toward sleep. Throughout the vast and varied lands of the Pokemon world, there exist beings whose power and presence transcend that of ordinary creatures. These are the legendary Pokemon, revered and respected not just for their incredible abilities, but for the role they play as guardians of the world, protectors of the realms that stretch from one corner of existence to another. These Pokemon are not merely creatures of strength, they are the stewards of the natural balance, the keepers of harmony that holds the universe in place. The concept of guardianship is central to the role of many legendary Pokemon. They are not rulers of their domains, but protectors of the delicate forces that exist within them. Each legendary Pokemon is tied to a specific element, region, or force of nature, and their presence ensures that the flow of life continues without disruption. Whether they guard the balance of time, space, or life itself, these Pokemon hold a sacred responsibility, one that they carry with quiet strength and unwavering resolve. Take, for example, the great guardians of the sea, Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza. These three legendary Pokemon, representing the oceans, land, and sky, form a natural trinity, each one keeping watch over a different aspect of the world. Kyogre, with its dominion over the oceans, controls the ebb and flow of the tides, ensuring the seas remain in balance. Groudon, with its mastery of the land, ensures that the earth remains fertile and capable of sustaining life. Rayquaza, the guardian of the skies, soars above them both, ensuring that the balance between the land and sea is never disrupted. Together, these three Pokemon protect the natural forces that keep the world in motion, each one playing a vital role in maintaining harmony. But the guardianship of legendary Pokemon is not confined only to the physical elements. Many of these beings serve as protectors of intangible forces, safeguarding the very fabric of the universe itself. Dialga, the embodiment of time, is a perfect example of this. As the guardian of time, Dialga holds sway over the very flow of existence, ensuring that the moments of the world unfold as they should. Its presence prevents time from unraveling, from becoming a chaotic, formless void. Dialga's role as a guardian is one of profound importance. Time is not just a force, it is the very thread that connects all of existence. Without it, there would be no continuity, no past or future, only an endless present that never changes. Dialga's guardianship is quiet, but immeasurably powerful, its every action ensuring that time flows smoothly, unbroken by any force that might seek to disrupt it. Likewise, Palkia, the guardian of space, is the protector of the very dimensions that shape the world. Where Dialga governs time, Palkia shapes the very space in which time exists. Palkia is said to hold the power to create and manipulate the dimensions of reality itself, shaping the very boundaries of the universe. Its presence ensures that the space between worlds remains intact, preventing the collapse of reality into an unshapable void. Palkia's guardianship is as crucial as Dialga's, for without the structure of space, there would be no framework for the passage of time. Together, Dialga and Palkia are the keepers of the universe's most fundamental forces, time and space, and their guardianship is what allows existence to unfold as we know it. But there are also guardians of more subtle forces, beings who watch over the balance of light and dark, life and death, creation and destruction. These legendary Pokemon play a vital role in ensuring that the forces of nature are kept in check and that the world remains in harmony. One such pair is Xerneas and Yveltal, the embodiments of life and death. Xerneas, with its radiant beauty, is the guardian of life, breathing vitality into the world wherever it walks. Yveltal, in contrast, represents death, bringing with it the inevitability of the end, the natural conclusion to all things. But neither Xerneas nor Yveltal is evil or malicious. They are simply forces of nature, as essential to the cycle of life as the seasons themselves. Xerneas's role as a guardian is to ensure that life flourishes, that the energy of the world continues to flow and grow. Its presence brings forth new beginnings, the birth of new life, and the ongoing cycle of growth and change. Yveltal, on the other hand, is the guardian of the end, ensuring that the cycle of life is not disrupted, that death is a natural and necessary part of the world's ongoing rhythm. Together, they form a balance, Xerneas bringing life, Yveltal taking it away when the time has come. Their guardianship is not about good and evil, but about the essential balance that must exist between the beginning and the end, the light and the dark. Similarly, Solgaleo and Lunala, the guardians of Alola, protect the region through their dual roles as symbols of the sun and the moon. Solgaleo, with its radiant body, is the guardian of light and day, bringing warmth and strength to the world as it shines like the sun. Lunala, in contrast, is the guardian of the night, its body glowing with the soft light of the moon, guiding those who walk in darkness. The sun and the moon are forces that shape the rhythms of the world. The rising and setting of the sun mark the passage of time, while the moon governs the tides and the sleep of the world. Sol Galeo and Lunala work in tandem, ensuring that the balance between light and dark is maintained and that the cycles of nature remain uninterrupted. Guardianship is not just a role filled by these mighty creatures, it is an essential part of the fabric of the world itself. Legendary Pokemon, through their various forms and powers, protect the forces that sustain existence. They are the keepers of the balance, watching over the natural world and ensuring that the cycles of life continue without disruption. Their guardianship is not a passive one. They are active, powerful beings who maintain the flow of time, space, life, and death, ensuring that the world remains in harmony. As you drift into a peaceful slumber, dear friend, let the stories of these guardians fill your mind with a sense of calm and reverence. The legendary Pokemon, protectors of the world's most essential forces, remind us that we too must find balance in our lives. Just as these beings ensure the harmony of the universe, so must we strive to create balance within ourselves, between light and dark, growth and decay, creation and destruction. And through this balance, we find peace. Now, as we move into the next chapter of our journey, let the quiet strength of these guardians guide you deeper into rest. May their presence remind you that, like the world itself, we are part of something much larger, always moving toward harmony and balance. As we journey through the world of Pokemon, we encounter creatures of all shapes, sizes, and abilities, each one contributing to the vast, colorful tapestry that makes up the Pokemon universe. But among these many creatures, there are those who stand apart, beings of immense power and significance, legendary Pokemon. These creatures, whose influence extends beyond the realms of the games into the very heart of the Pokemon mythos, are far more than just powerful beings. They are symbols of the world's most fundamental forces: time, space, creation, destruction, life, and death. And their presence in the Pokemon games has shaped not just the storylines, but the very essence of the Pokemon experience. In the games, legendary Pokemon are often shrouded in mystery and surrounded by stories of their greatness. They are the guardians of the regions they inhabit, protectors of ancient secrets, and wielders of powers that defy understanding. Their presence in the games is not just a reflection of their power, but a reflection of the deep connection between the world of Pokemon and the forces of nature that these Pokemon represent. These creatures are not just enemies to be defeated or allies to be caught. They are central figures in the stories of the games, driving the plot forward and giving players a sense of purpose and awe as they uncover their mysteries. In the early games, legendary Pokemon were often seen as rare and elusive creatures, hidden deep within the world and only accessible to the most determined of trainers. The journey to find them was often as much a part of the adventure as the battles themselves. These Pokemon were not easily obtained. They were tied to the myths of the world, to the very land they inhabited, and their capture was a symbol of the player's journey through the game. Whether it was Mewtwo in the original Pokemon Red and Blue games, or the legendary birds of Kanto, The search for these powerful creatures became an iconic part of the Pokemon experience. Over time, the role of legendary Pokemon in the games evolved, with each new generation introducing new creatures that embodied the forces of nature in unique ways. In Pokemon Gold and Silver, players encountered the legendary beasts Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, each one representing a different aspect of nature's power. Entei, with its control over fire, was a symbol of destruction and rebirth. Raikou, with its mastery over thunder, represented change and energy. A Suicune, with its connection to water, was a symbol of purity and healing. These three Pokemon were not just powerful creatures, they were reflections of the forces that governed the world and the balance that was required to maintain harmony. In Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, players encountered Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza, the guardians of the seas, the earth, and the sky. These three legendary Pokemon formed a trinity, each one representing a different aspect of the natural world. Kyogre's power over the oceans, Groudon's control over the land, and Rayquaza's dominion over the skies symbolized the delicate balance between the elements. The storyline of these games was centered around the conflict between these Pokemon as their battle threatened to throw the world into chaos. The influence of these legendary Pokemon was not just felt in their battles, but in the way their existence shaped the very nature of the world. Each generation brought with it a new legendary Pokemon, and with them, new themes and stories that added depth to the Pokemon world. In Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, were introduced, embodying the forces of time, space, and antimatter. These Pokemon were central to the plot, as their powers were tied to the very fabric of the universe, and the player's quest to understand their role in the world became a key element of the game. Dialga and Palkia represented the balance between the forces of time and space, while Giratina, with its connection to the distortion world, served as a reminder that the universe's balance was fragile and that dark forces lurked just beyond the edge of reality. In Pokemon Black and White, the forces of truth and ideals were represented by the legendary dragons Reshiram and Zekrom. These two Pokemon were not just creatures of power, they were embodiments of the ideals that shaped the world's history. Reshiram, with its connection to truth, represented the clarity that comes with understanding the world as it truly is. Zekrom, with its embodiment of ideals, symbolized the strength that comes from the belief in one's vision for the future. The story of these two legendary Pokemon was one of conflict and reconciliation as the player navigated the struggle between truth and ideals, understanding that neither force could exist without the other. As the games progressed, the role of legendary Pokemon continued to grow, with each new generation introducing more powerful beings that influenced the world in unique ways. The addition of the Ultra Beasts in Pokemon Sun and Moon introduced a new level of mystery, as these beings came from an entirely different dimension, further expanding the scope of the Pokemon universe. These Ultra Beasts were not tied to the traditional elements of time, space, or nature. Instead, they represented the unknown, the forces that exist beyond our understanding. Their presence in the games reminded players that the Pokemon world is not just limited to what we know, but is filled with mysteries that extend beyond the horizon. In Pokemon Sword and Shield, the legendary Pokemon Zacian and Zamachenta embodied the themes of heroism and sacrifice, with their powers tied to the history of Galar. Their connection to the sword and shield, symbols of protection and strength, was central to the story, as the player sought to uncover the truth behind their existence and their role in the defense of the region. Throughout all of these games, the influence of legendary Pokemon cannot be overstated. These beings are not just powerful creatures to be caught, they are integral to the narrative, the lore, and the themes of the games themselves. They represent the forces that shape the world and guide the players on their journey, providing a sense of purpose and wonder as they uncover the mysteries of the Pokemon universe. The legendary Pokemon in the games serve as more than just powerful beings. They are the guardians of the world, the protectors of the natural balance, and the keepers of the stories that define the Pokemon universe. Their presence reminds us that the world of Pokemon is vast, filled with both known and unknown forces, and that the journey to uncover the truth behind these creatures is one of discovery, growth, and understanding. As you rest here tonight, let the stories of these legendary Pokemon guide you into a peaceful slumber. These creatures, whose influence extends far beyond the games themselves, remind us of the deep connections that exist between the world and the forces that shape it. Their power is not just in their strength, but in their role as guardians, protectors, and symbols of the mysteries that await us all. Now, as we move into the next part of our journey, let the quiet presence of these legendary beings guide you toward restful sleep, where dreams are filled with the wonder and mystery of the Pokemon world. Across the vast world of Pokemon, there exists a deep, almost sacred bond between the legendary Pokemon and the trainers, scholars, and communities who revere them. These creatures, whose power transcends the ordinary and whose significance is tied to the very fabric of the world, elicit not just awe and respect, but a profound emotional and spiritual connection. Legendary Pokemon are not simply powerful beings to be captured and added to a Pokedex. They are symbols of hope, change, and eternal truths, and as such, they often evoke powerful feelings of reverence, wonder, and reflection from those who encounter them. The emotional connection to legendary Pokemon begins with their mysterious, often awe-inspiring presence. When players first encounter these majestic beings in the games, it is often a moment of wonder. They appear not as ordinary creatures, but as beings of myth and legend, their presence signaling a significant moment in the player's journey. These Pokemon, by virtue of their power, rarity, and the stories surrounding them, are imbued with a sense of greatness that inspires deep feelings in those who meet them. For trainers, encountering a legendary Pokemon is not just about catching a powerful creature. It is about facing a being that represents something greater than themselves. These Pokemon are guardians of balance, protectors of the natural world, and keepers of ancient truths, and as such, they embody ideals that resonate deeply with the player's own journey. For many trainers, the emotional connection to a legendary Pokemon is deeply tied to the personal growth they experience throughout their journey. The encounter with these Pokemon often comes at a pivotal moment in the game, after the player has faced numerous challenges, overcoming obstacles, and learning important lessons along the way. The battle against a legendary Pokemon, then, is not just a test of strength, but a reflection of the journey the trainer has undertaken. These Pokemon, representing the forces of nature and the universe, challenge the player to dig deep within themselves and to rise to meet them with the knowledge, wisdom, and determination they have gained. Take, for example, the bond that players form with the legendary Pokemon of the Sinnoh region, the Creation Trio. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina represent not just time, space, and antimatter, but the underlying forces that shape the universe itself. As players encounter these Pokemon, they are reminded of the vastness of the world, the fragility of time, and the balance required to maintain the harmony of existence. The battle against these mighty beings is not just a contest of strength, it is a spiritual confrontation with the very fabric of reality. To capture them is not just a triumph over a powerful foe, it is an acknowledgement of the player's place within the greater scheme of the universe, a humbling reminder of how small we are in the grand expanse of time and space. Similarly, the legendary Pokemon of Hoenn, Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza represent the forces of the oceans, the earth, and the sky. The emotional connection to these Pokemon is rooted in the understanding of the natural world and the delicate balance that must be maintained between the elements. Kyogre's mastery over the oceans and Groudon's control over the land symbolize the ebb and flow of nature, while Rayquaza, the guardian of the skies, stands as the protector of the balance between the two. As players witness the power of these Pokemon, they are reminded of the interconnectedness of the world and the importance of harmony between all living things. The emotional impact of these encounters is felt not just in the battle, but in the realization that the player has a responsibility to protect and maintain the balance of the world they inhabit. The spiritual connection to legendary Pokemon is also reflected in the stories and myths that surround them. These Pokemon are not just creatures, they are symbols of deeper truths, often tied to the very origins of the Pokemon world. The story of Xerneas, the embodiment of life, for example, is not just about the Pokemon itself, but about the cycle of life and death, creation and renewal. To encounter Xerneas is to come face to face with the concept of life itself, to be reminded of the fragility of existence and the beauty that comes with the passing of time. The bond that players form with Xerneas is not just about capturing a powerful creature, it is about recognizing the importance of life, the gift of growth, and the responsibility to protect the world and all its inhabitants. Similarly, Yveltal, the embodiment of death, offers a contrasting yet equally profound spiritual connection. While Yveltal's power is not one of destruction, but of transformation, the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. To encounter Yveltal is to confront the reality that death is a natural part of existence, and that it is through the end of one chapter that new beginnings can emerge. The emotional connection to Yveltal is one of acceptance, of understanding that both life and death are essential to the balance of the world. It is a reminder that death is not to be feared, but to be honored as part of the eternal cycle of nature. For many trainers, the emotional and spiritual connection to legendary Pokemon is not just about the creatures themselves, but about the journeys they represent. The pursuit of these Pokemon is often a quest that parallels the player's own growth and development. Just as the player faces challenges, overcomes obstacles, and learns important lessons, the legendary Pokemon represent the ultimate test of strength, wisdom, and resilience. The encounter with these creatures becomes a symbolic reflection of the player's own evolution, and capturing them is a powerful affirmation of the journey they have undertaken. But beyond the games themselves, the emotional and spiritual connection to legendary Pokemon extends into the hearts of the players who form bonds with them. These creatures, with their grand tails and powerful abilities, are not just icons of strength. They are symbols of something deeper, something greater than the sum of their parts. They represent ideals, forces, and truths that resonate with players on a personal level, inspiring them to reflect on their own lives, their own struggles, and their own growth. As you settle into the quiet rhythm of your breath tonight, let the stories of these legendary Pokemon fill your mind with peace and introspection. Allow their power, their mystery, and their beauty to guide you into a restful sleep, knowing that the journey of life, much like the journey through the Pokemon world, is one of discovery, growth, and transformation. And just as the legendary Pokemon protect and guide the world, may you too find the strength to embrace the forces of life that shape your own existence. As the sun sets and the stars begin to twinkle in the quiet sky, the legacy of legendary Pokemon remains ever present, echoing through the worlds they protect and the hearts of those who have encountered them. These majestic beings, whose stories have traveled across generations, carry with them not just the weight of their immense power, but also the wisdom and lessons of the worlds they inhabit. From the first steps of creation to the deepest mysteries of existence, legendary Pokemon are not just guardians of nature, they are the custodians of the legacies that bind the universe together, a constant reminder of the delicate balance between life, death, time, and space. The legacy of legendary Pokemon is one of harmony, strength, and transformation. These beings are not merely creatures to be caught. They are symbols of the forces that govern our world and the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding. Each legendary Pokemon represents a different facet of the universe, and their presence in the Pokemon world serves as a guiding light, reminding us of the importance of the natural order and our place within it. Their legacies are woven into the very fabric of the worlds they inhabit, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those who cross their paths. In the world of Sinnoh, the legacy trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, embodies the forces of time, space, and antimatter. These legendary Pokemon are not just the keepers of cosmic balance, they are the very essence of the universe itself. Dialga, the embodiment of time, governs the passage of moments, ensuring that the flow of existence remains unbroken. Its legacy is one of constant movement, a reminder that time, though fleeting, is the force that allows all things to evolve and change. Without time, there can be no growth, no memory, and no future. Palkia, the embodiment of space, shapes the dimensions in which time unfolds. Its legacy is one of vastness, reminding us of the infinite possibilities that lie beyond our understanding. Space is not just a void, it is the foundation of reality itself, a canvas upon which the universe is painted. And then there is Giratina, the embodiment of antimatter existing in the distortion world, a parallel realm where the rules of the universe break down. Giratina's legacy is one of mystery, of the unknown that lies beyond the boundaries of our perception, and of the chaos that must be contained to preserve the balance of the world. Together, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina form the foundation of the universe, their legacy forever entwined in the cosmos. The legacy of these three Pokemon is not one of domination, but of guardianship, a reminder that the forces of time, space, and antimatter must work in harmony to ensure that the universe continues to exist. Without one, the others cannot thrive, and it is only through balance that the world remains intact. The legacy of the creation trio speaks to the delicate equilibrium that must be maintained in all aspects of life, whether it be in the universe itself or in the quiet moments of our own existence. In Hoenn, the legendary Pokemon Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza share a legacy tied to the natural forces of the world. Kyogre, the embodiment of the sea, represents the power of water and its role in the cycle of life. Groudon, the embodiment of the land, represents the earth and the strength it provides. Rayquaza, the guardian of the skies, is the protector of balance, ensuring that the forces of the sea and land never clash beyond control. These three legendary Pokemon remind us of the delicate relationship between the earth, water, and sky, forces that must coexist in harmony for life to thrive. Their legacy is one of cooperation, strength, and renewal, symbolizing the importance of working together to create balance in the world. The legacy of Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza is also one of transformation. Just as the seasons change and the elements shift, the world itself undergoes constant cycles of growth, destruction, and rebirth. The oceans bring life to the earth, the land nourishes the waters, and the sky holds them both in balance. The legacy of these Pokemon is a reminder that change is not something to be feared, but embraced, for it is through transformation that new life is brought into the world. In the Alola region, the legendary Pokemon Solgaleo and Lunala embody the sun and the moon, two forces that shape not just the physical world, but the very rhythms of life itself. Solgaleo, the sun Pokemon, is the embodiment of light, warmth, and strength, while Lunala, the moon Pokemon, represents the mysteries of the night, the cool glow of the moon, and the quietude that allows the world to rest. Their legacy is one of balance, of the constant cycle between light and dark, day and night. Without the sun, the world would wither in darkness. Without the moon, the world would be left in a constant state of brightness, with no room for rest or reflection. The legacy of Solgaleo and Lunala is not just a reflection of the natural cycles of the world, it is a reminder that balance is essential in all things. The sun and the moon work together to create harmony, and their legacy is one of cooperation, trust, and respect for the forces that govern the natural world. Through their guardianship, they ensure that the world continues to turn, that life continues to flourish, and that the cycle of time continues without disruption. Throughout the Pokemon world, the legacy of legendary Pokemon is also reflected in the connections they form with trainers. These creatures, whose power and presence are often awe-inspiring, forge deep emotional bonds with those who encounter them. For the trainers who capture and befriend these Pokemon, the bond goes beyond the act of capturing a powerful creature. It is a connection to something greater, something beyond themselves. The journey to find and connect with the legendary Pokemon is not just about strength, it is about understanding, respect, and a deep sense of responsibility. The legacy of these Pokemon is passed on through the trainers they encounter, shaping their lives and influencing the paths they take. As you lie here, drifting into a peaceful sleep, let the stories of these legendary Pokemon fill your heart with a sense of calm and reflection. Their legacies are not just those of power, but of wisdom, balance, and connection. They remind us of the forces that shape the world, the delicate equilibrium that allows life to thrive, and the importance of working together to create harmony. The legacy of legendary Pokémon is one of guardianship, transformation, and understanding. They are not just creatures of myth, they are the embodiment of the forces that govern the universe, and their legacy continues to inspire all who encounter them. Thank you for drifting with me through the timeless stories of the legendary Pokémon. Together, we have explored the ancient forces that shape the world, delving deep into the realms of creation, balance, and mystery. The creatures we've met along the way, guardians of time, space, life, death, and the very elements that bind the universe, remind us of the wonders that exist just beyond our reach. They are symbols not just of power, but of the delicate balance required to maintain the world as we know it. As you lie here, let their stories stay with you. Feel the quiet presence of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina watching over the passage of time and the space between worlds. Let the rhythms of Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza fill you with a sense of peace, knowing that the forces of nature are in harmony. The warmth of Solgaleo and the cool tranquility of Lunala guide you through the cycles of day and night, teaching us that light and darkness are both necessary parts of existence. Even the mysterious Ultra Beasts, with their strange beauty and unknowable origins, invite us to embrace the unknown with wonder and curiosity. The legacy of these legendary Pokémon is not just in the battles they fought or the power they hold. It is in the lessons they teach us about balance, growth, and transformation. Each story, each encounter reflects the journey we all take through life, the journey of discovery, understanding, and self-realization. Now, as the night deepens around you, take these lessons with you into your dreams. Let the quiet strength of these legendary beings guide you, just as they guide the worlds they protect. May you find peace in knowing that balance and harmony are always within reach, even in the most chaotic moments. Thank you for joining me on this peaceful journey. May your dreams be calm and your heart light, filled with the knowledge that you too are part of the grand, ever-turning wheel of life, time, and space. Rest easy, knowing that the guardians of the Pokémon world are always watching over you, silently ensuring that balance remains. Good night.